What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Bears recap week 9. Take a close L in Pittsburgh, 29-27. I'm here with Eli Cabron, Big Nick the Quick. What's going on, fellas?
It's a business.
Doing well.
They showed a little fight, which I liked. It could have got ugly. There was a stretch where I'm like, this game is going to look just like Pittsburgh, and they're going to run away with this, and this is going to be a really, really rough go. But they showed a lot of fight. Second half, Justin Fields looked great. Eli, we'll start with you. How'd you feel about the game to start, to close, and how it finished up?
Yeah, I had the same thoughts as you, as that this was going to be another primetime embarrassment for the Bears. We've seen a few of those in the last few years. But that second half was just bonkers. We haven't had a second half crazy like that, I feel like, since the beginning of last season, those comebacks against Detroit and Atlanta. I feel like every other game has gone kind of according to plan, but this one kind of went off the rails. My two takeaways were, one, the offense. We saw a real offense in the second half. We saw Justin Fields with some RPOs. We saw some wildcat with Mooney and Montgomery in the backfield. We saw some creativity out of the Bears offense for the first time in seemingly forever, which was great to see. And second, that the officiating problem in the NFL is horrendous, and this shit has to get cleaned up. There were like 5 blown calls that all happened to go against the Bears. And I'm not making excuses. The Bears lost, but the officiating is a joke, and that needs to be fixed immediately by the NFL.
Big Nick.
Yeah, so I know our Monday recap's usually a little bit more serious here on Monday, but it is Tuesday, so I feel like I got to start out by saying this. Shout out my boy Mike Tomlin. I had to see it twice. I had to see it twice to believe it. I wasn't looking the first time the Steelers punted. I was just listening. I was like looking away at something, and I heard them say the punter's name, Presley Harvin III. I was like, wow, that must be a white dude with just like a real black sounding name, kind of like Cassius Marsh. Then I see the second time he comes out.
Yeah.
Then I see the second time he comes out, and I see that Presley Harvin III is a black punter. So shout out Mike Tomlin for going out and getting the black punter. You know what I mean? Putting people in position of power. He's a rookie. Dude is huge. I just love to see it, man. So shout out Mike Tomlin, man. We always celebrate the black quarterbacks, black head coaches, black GMs. So shout out Mike Tomlin for finding the unicorn, the black punter.
Sure.
So I had
Marquette King.
Marquette King, yeah, but the Raiders did him bogus,
right?
Man.
Yeah.
We hope that Presley Harvin III stays in the league, man. So shout out Mike Tomlin, man. He's a real one for that. Yeah. So I was just like you guys. The game started. I'm like, here we go again. We're not blocking anybody. Play calling looks suspect. Justin Fields looks suspect. Let's keep it real. He's overthrowing some receivers. He looks flustered in there. It just seems like it's going to be another one of those games where the Bears kick our ass. We already knew that we were at a disadvantage from a coaching perspective. We already knew that we were at a disadvantage from a talent perspective heading into this game. Steelers have some absolute monsters on the line, whether it be Watt, whether it be Hayward, whether it be some Minkah Fitzpatrick back there at safety. We just kind of knew we were in for a long one, and it just looked like, honestly, what Eder say, 38-3? It was looking that way, right? I was ready to flip the Bulls game onto the main TV. I was done with the Bears. Especially after that Hayward interception. Great play by Hayward. I know it's not 100% on Fields, but also it was a low-thrown ball. Threw it right to him, right? So great play by Cam Hayward there, and it just looked like it was going to be another one of those days. Flip to the second half of the game, man. Justin Fields, 12 of 18, 228 yards and 1 touchdown, and a ton of heart. I thought they came out in the second half, and particularly the fourth quarter, heading into the fourth quarter down 14. Again, you never see the Bears show up in these spots. I can't tell you the last time we've seen the Bears show up in these spots. So win or lose, it was one of the more exciting games I've seen in a while, again, especially in the fourth quarter. Some of those throws that he made were high-level throws. The touchdown to Mooney, the seam route to Robinson, up the middle to Kmet, right? You take your pick at some of those throws. Those are high-level throws and the types of things that we haven't seen in the Bears offense in a long time. Just the fact that we were in a position to win that game and that he didn't quit after how bad the first half went, right? After how bad some of the protection issues were, after who he was facing, right? Like, I just think that, to me, and I said in the group chat last night, like, I care about wins and losses. I would have liked to see him get away with a win in that, because I think it would have done a little bit more for his confidence than obviously having a performance like that and coming away with an L. But at the same time, man, if we're here as fans looking at this, and the number one thing that we're focused on is Justin Fields' development. This is a huge W for Justin Fields' development. You now have 2 games that you can go back to with Justin Fields, sit down, go through the mistakes, and begin to improve on as you head into this bye week. So from that perspective, it's a huge W, right? There is a lot that you can clean up, but the fight that they showed, the quit that they didn't show, right? And other times when, again, we've seen the Bears roll over or just not be able to put up a fight for whatever reason, lack of talent, lack of execution, whatever it is, they were making plays in the second half. I'll even give it to Nagy or Laser or whoever called the Wildcat to Darnell Mooney. What a play call. What a play call, right? You don't see it like that. The touchdown pass to Mooney. What a play call. What a throw by Fields. So I felt great about it. Look, we knew this defense is sus. And for the second week in a row, our defense is extremely sus in a time where they could step up and make a play, right? Roethlisberger could do whatever he wanted to in the fourth quarter against our defense when we had a chance to win. But, man, the fight that they showed, the development that Fields showed, the way that I feel heading into the bye week, record aside, I don't think you could ask for anything more but the W, but I'll take it.
I think, too, this is now back-to-back weeks we've seen Fields do this, right? He looked really good last week. Now we come in and he looked really good in the second half this week. 336 total yards from Justin Fields yesterday. That is something that I wasn't expecting to see against this tough D on Monday night. For his first Monday night primetime start, I thought it'll go down. The momentum in the NFL is so real. Like we just like you said, Nick, to close that game like that, have a real shot to win, and then taking that into the bye week instead of imploding and playing and finishing the game like we did against Tampa Bay and just getting destroyed on the road. It's we don't do moral victories, but it's a moral victory. Like that's what, like as simple as that. Like that's what it was, right? So I was happy to see that. I was happy to see us need 7 points, go down and get 7 points. Like simple as that. Like just like any other NFL team, I think us as Bears fans in that spot, we get the ball and we need 7 points. We're like, this is dead.
Yep.
When on like a majority of the league, they think their team can go down and score. We haven't thought that. They went down and proved that they could, and I was very encouraged by that for Fields to stack it 2 weeks in a row.
And I don't want to hear, they alluded to on the broadcast, and I've seen it on Twitter, like, look, if you watch the Bears every week, I don't want to hear that we left too much time for Roethlisberger. We're not an offense that can pick and choose when we score. I'm sorry. Hey, if the opportunity to score is there, I don't care if you're leaving 3 minutes or 1:40 like we left them. I don't care. If the opportunity for this offense to score is there, we are not an offense that can pick and choose and get cute when it comes to taking the ball over the pylon. I don't want to hear it. So I don't care how much time we left them. I am fine with that. There's plenty to blame Matt Nagy for over the last 3.5 years, but I'm not going to blame them for coming down and scoring as quick as they did against Roethlisberger. So I just want to get that out there.
And real quick, before I get back to you, Eli, I want to say this. I think the game was stolen from us. I think we should have won the game. Like if you look at the whole game in its entirety, we got screwed on some really, really, really massive spots. I'm talking about, okay, they took off 4 points on that first touchdown with the low block where
he didn't even touch him.
Well, first of all, it was an absolute terrible attempt at a block. And then it was a failed attempt at a block. And then we got called for the low block that didn't even happen. And also, if every fucking scoring replay is reviewable, then look at the whole play. Why is it half? You could review half the play, but a low block's not. Like what are we talking about here?
Yeah, is it a touchdown or is it not?
Is it a touchdown or not? Did he? Is it a foul or not? If we can review the whole thing, and I love that ESPN brought up like the light up box. We're like, so you can see the exactly where it happened, where it took place. So that's the thing, man. If we're gonna review it. I don't understand these nuances where we want to really get it right. So let's review it. But we can't look at that part.
We don't want to find some other shit because their argument's going to be like, well, then we could start looking for holdings on some of these plays and all this shit. But to your point, it doesn't matter if you're going to
No,
look
but
at
if
it.
it's
Look
not,
at it.
if it's not, if it's called or this is the
if you call
thing.
the
If you
penalty.
call something, it should be under review. If you miss the call and don't call it, then I'm not saying go back and start throwing flags. I'm saying you decided to throw the flag. Let's go review it on a touchdown scoring play. Like, there's no difference in him getting 2 feet down or not. It's yeah, I don't understand. So we get 4 points taken off the board there. Then we get another. Then the ending play with Marsh adds 3 points. We're talking about it. Yeah, we could, like we're talking about a whole touchdown.
The missed late hit on Fields.
Yeah,
and I saw you said on Twitter that the Minkah Fitzpatrick's not a penalty, but guess what? In a lot of situations in the NFL, it's called as a penalty. You can't tell me that you've never seen that called. You can't tell me that that's never called. You can't tell me that's never called.
And
he hit him with his helmet.
The PI on Jalen Johnson on the last drive, that was a 40-yard chunk play, which I personally don't like the NFL rule of PI being at the spot of the foul. I think it should just be 15 yards because it's ridiculous. Like, why did the Steelers get 40 yards for a good defense? But that wasn't pass interference. The receiver pushed off on Johnson. So, like, yeah, there was like 6 calls that all went against the Bears. I mean, it was
massive spots.
It was bad. It was all bad.
Yo, Nick, I'm gonna tell you this. Listen, Justin, I don't know if he had a brain lapse or what, but he half decided that he wanted to lower his shoulder and try to pick up whatever was there, and he got his ass popped.
That's fine.
Like he was clearly in bounds. If you're gonna lower your shoulder, lower it or get out of bounds. That's not a penalty.
If that happens to Josh Allen, it's a flag is thrown. And in plenty of situations, the flag is thrown there. I'm sorry.
You think
it is what it is?
You think he wasn't getting respect on some rookie shit, like even with the other roughing?
Yeah, and maybe Josh, but there's quarterbacks in the league who are getting that call that you can't tell me that they're not.
If
that happens to Roethlisberger, the flags are out all over the place.
But you saw on that last drive,
Mike Pereira's throwing a flag.
Fields slid real quick on that last drive. He was like, "I'm gonna get down. Now I'm gonna get." Yeah,
it was not a smart decision at all. I didn't know what he was doing. Quarterbacks should never lower their shoulder. Like, just don't do it. Just get out of bounds. It's not worth it to take the hit.
Well, especially not on the sideline.
Especially, yeah, exactly. Out of bounds is right there. You're not gonna bowl over Minkah Fitzpatrick. You know what I mean?
Just not on the sideline.
Yeah,
like,
make the right decision.
If you're trying to pick up an extra couple in the middle of the field, all right, cool.
That's one thing.
If you're right there on the sideline, go ahead and step out of bounds.
Get out. Step out.
Because
man.
when Minkah saw him lower his shoulder, he was smiling ear to ear.
Yeah, you serious?
He couldn't wait.
It's like, oh my god. He's like, oh my goodness.
And I think this is also, remember how we were talking about Justin, like, man, this is the NFL. Like, maybe I can't do what I just did. I think he like had a little lapse where he's like, let me just lower my shoulder on this little guy from Rutgers, and he'll tap me and I'll go out of bounds. He felt Minkah. You saw how he went up in the air?
It's a big guy from Alabama that's been in the NFL for a while now. Look, 100%, man. But I mean, either way, regardless of how you saw that one, there are plenty of other opportunities as far as calls go in which the Bears just got absolutely hosed. Like, again, the missed roughing the passer on Justin Fields. That's called all the time.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Right? I don't know how
it was called on Mario Edwards earlier in the game. It was the exact same play.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the Marsh thing, you can look at it however you want to. The league has been calling these every week. We talk about these taunting penalties, and the league's been calling them every week. Just make the tackle, get up, and turn around at this point. Like, that's all I would say. At this point, make the tackle, get up, and just turn around, because they are going to call anything, especially on defensive players. It's really aimed at defensive players doing anything after they hit somebody. So if that's the case, just get up and turn around. I don't like the call. I really don't like it in that spot. Like, I do think you have to, time and place does matter, right? And that situation on 3rd and 8 in that pivotal moment of the ball game to throw that flag, like, you really have to really want to throw that flag in order to throw it. And then you hip check the guy. Like, let's talk about that, right? I hope Tony Coretti or whatever his name is, he should be getting a fine, a suspension, or whatever it is that a player gets for doing that.
Never going to happen.
It's never going to happen, but he absolutely hip checked him. I mean, I watched the replay like 50 times. He's literally hip checks the guy. He was pissed about whatever happened. So, yeah, on Marsh, look, young player, you can't make that mistake. But, again, there were so many other spots in which the Bears getting awful officiating left and right. Every time the Bears did something, flags were thrown. Meanwhile, on the Steelers side, nothing was being thrown against them. Nothing. There's no way in the NFL calls should ever be that lopsided.
If we're going to talk about penalties, though, can we mention that Robert Quinn lined up offsides 2 plays in a row on the final drive of the game? Like, Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is going on? I could not believe that he did it a second time. He just stood there. You could see on the ESPN telecast, he's on the line of scrimmage. Like, that was ridiculous. I got really upset there. But
Bears 12 penalties for 115 yards, Steelers 5 penalties for 30. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the fact that we had 12 for 115 and then 2 turnovers and had a real chance to win the game and probably should have won it if you pull out all the stuff with the referees. It's
not even all of it. If you pull it all out,
we're just the touchdown. The James Daniel hold was the difference, right?
Yeah. So I do want to talk about this because I think it's getting to a point where Justin has a connection with Cole Kmet and he has a connection with Mooney. And I don't know. I hate saying that quarterbacks don't look for guys because I don't know how necessarily true that is. Like, there's too much shit going on. Like, the whole Odell and Mayfield thing. Like, he's not deliberately dropping back, looking Odell's way and like, I'm not getting him the ball.
No way will I throw the ball to that guy.
Yeah, it's just like not happening.
Yeah,
right? I really don't believe that stuff is happening. But I'll say this: the ball tends to get to Kmet quite a bit when Justin's now dropping back there. He looks for Mooney. It's really encouraging to see Kmet. And we were always talking about this. It wasn't about Kmet being whack. He wasn't even getting on the field.
They just weren't using him.
They weren't using him, just flat out weren't giving him the ball.
There were games last year he was getting like 3 or 4 snaps. You'd look it up and we come and talk about it. Like, I think the kid has talent. When he plays, it looks good. Like last night, like absolutely.
And when he got hit in the back, I was like, oh, he's going to be down for sure. He popped right up. He's big. He's strong. He's got good hands. So that is very encouraging. It was also encouraging to see Montgomery back doing his thing. So
it was not encouraging to see Jimmy Graham not make that catch.
Yeah, that was a bummer. Did you notice that they bumped Damian Williams down to the bottom of the depth chart? Khalil was getting those second team running back snaps.
Yeah.
We don't need a veteran that's not going to get vaccinated. We can.
Yeah. No, it's true though. It's true.
He's immunized.
Yeah, and this guy is and we got this dude under contract for a little longer, and he's gonna be cheaper. Yeah, so
way cheaper. Yeah, absolutely. Develop Khalil Herbert, dude. You talk about it all the time. Don't pay running backs. Just keep developing cheap ones.
I'm telling you, man.
When it's time to pay Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, your turn. Like,
as fucked up as it sounds, I'm not. That's exactly what I would do.
Draft him in the 4th round every year. You will find a good running back in the 4th round every year.
Dude, I would never pay a running back over $1 million.
Nope.
Like I'm dead serious. Simple as that. There's so much more money that can be distributed in better spots on the squad. So you feel pretty good going into the bye then, Nick, overall?
I feel good. This team is trash, right? No, I don't feel good because the offensive line is such an area of concern that any game can go the way that the Browns game went. Now, a lot of that was aided by terrible play calling. But again, they have the potential. So the biggest hindrance, the 2 biggest hindrances to his development are Matt Nagy and the offensive line. And those 2 things for right now aren't going anywhere and aren't improving, right? So that is always going to be an issue. But as far as his confidence, again, we talked about it last week. Sometimes you just have to see the ball go in the net. The ball went in the net a lot for him, even a lot more than even last week. Last week, we just saw some signs of encouragement, right? This week, we saw the ball go in the net. He was throwing dimes. He was making plays. He was making chunk plays, right? Again, the seam down to Allen Robinson, we haven't seen that in years in this side of town, right? So, I'm encouraged by that. But I'm not like, oh, man, we're going to come out the bye firing because, again, the personnel issues at core positions, the offensive line still exist, and the head coach still has no fucking idea what he's doing. But I'm encouraged by the fact that Justin Fields should feel good about himself as an NFL quarterback and that we are seeing signs towards development. Everything, I can't say it enough, everything about this year, everything about this summer, everything from the day you said the Bears select Justin Fields, what was the 12th pick? Did you select Justin Fields? 11th should be about developing Justin Fields. So as we head through the bye, sit down with him, go through the mistakes, go through the missed throws. What were you seeing here? Was it something where you got flustered and just made a bad throw? Is it something physical? Is it something mental? Let's go through that. Let's work on that because now you can show him positive stuff. Before you're just showing him running for his life and on his ass. And that's still happening. But again, you have a good body of film to work with in which you can sit down with him and go through the mistakes if you are a competent coaching staff, which we hope there's still some ounce of that left in these people in that building. But I don't trust them. But again, yeah, I feel long story short, I know it's a long-winded answer. Yes, I feel somewhat confident, but no, the same problems are still there. So it's a halfway.
Eli,
Yeah, I mean, we knew going into this season that the Bears had one of the toughest schedules in the league, and that's playing out. I mean, they are going up against good teams every week, and they're not getting wins. But like you said, the main development of Justin Fields is the key of this season is the development of Justin Fields. And we're seeing progress week after week. And the more, if we get playmakers back on defense, Khalil Mack, Alec Ogletree, Eddie Jackson, I mean, they're not the players we necessarily thought they were, but a few difference makers here or there, these games are close enough that those could be wins. And the more rapport he gets with Allen Robinson, the more rapport he gets with Darnell Mooney, the better Justin Fields will be. Hopefully the offensive line solidifies. But yeah, I mean, obviously coming into the bye, you would have hoped for more than 3 wins. But the way that I feel like the Bears are on an upward trajectory because of the fact that Fields is developing.
100%. And this is the thing for me. He easily could have shriveled up on national TV in the second half. The season's not going very well. He doesn't have much support from the offensive scheme in itself. And he doesn't, like you said, he doesn't have a lot of help from the offensive line. But he didn't shrivel. He kept plugging away. He kept doing his thing. He kept trying to make big throws. So that's the most encouraging spot. Yeah, man, you know where we're at, or you know where I'm at. Clean everybody the fuck up out of here and keep Justin Fields and build everything around him and make it work. So 3-6 is, I mean, I guess where I thought we'd be going into the bye, but we easily could have won that game last night. And I think it's more just about you know what this reminds me of, Eli? This is the exact spot we were in last year when we were like, yo, we need to lose the rest of the games. And we need to get Nagy up out of here and go get and figure out our quarterback situation, and then we'll come back next year and full go. And then they started winning games left and right.
Right, but last year
I disagree with that. Yeah, I just go ahead.
Last year the schedule was the Jaguars, the Vikings, the Lions. We come out of the bye. I mean, we still have the Lions, I guess, but we still have Baltimore, Green Bay, Minnesota. We have a lot of national TV games for some reason. Like the Bears schedule is not going to get much easier, and they're not. I mean, I don't think they're going to rally the way they did last year. But yeah, it has that kind of similar vibe. I feel.
But it's just a similar feel. Like the team overall is in no man's land, and then but the only difference is now we have
the hope that we have.
Exactly. We have
and also the wins don't hurt as much, right? The whole point of last year was don't win a bunch of games and then with the 20th draft pick, which we did, right? So because we want to get a quarterback. Now that we have the quarterback, the wins again. Yeah, I'd love to get higher the draft pick, the better, but it doesn't hurt as much. It doesn't take us out of that running of what we really need. Like, so I'm fine with it, man. I think the wins are good.
But we really need a new coach and GM, though. Do you understand? Like, let's not forget that.
This team's not going to win enough games for the look, man. I think Ryan Pace is safe. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I think I just feel like Ryan Pace is safe, but I don't think that Nagy's probably done. It's probably over with for Matt Nagy at the end of this. So it is what it is, man. But
you say that
there was a classic Nagy last night with the play call came in late. They had to burn a timeout, and then they come out of timeout with illegal formation.
Yeah,
great work, everybody.
Great work, everybody.
Exactly. The only thing that was missing was the personal foul afterwards.
Right. No, but like we laugh, but it's really for real.
Yes,
it's all stuff that could be cleaned up in discipline and stuff that lands at the head coach. Like, you can't come out, can't get the play in, we get a delay, and then you come out and you're not lined up correctly. And then on defense, we got folks lining up off sides. Just look at the fucking ball down the line and move back.
It's really not that hard. For a linebacker, like
the play before?
Yeah,
then you get another one the very next play. It's
you line up offside. You feel like the next play you might like look at the ball and figure out where the line of scrimmage is.
Yeah, so it was it's encouraging the way they closed out. I love what Justin is doing. I saw a couple tweets about his body language. I'm not trying to hear any of that. I did say that he looked a little flustered that one time when he was on the bench, but I think overall his spirit and his energy is up. You could tell when he threw that TD to Mooney, he was fired up and just excited to, like you said, Nick, see the ball go through the net, just like something that wasn't a negative play happening.
Yeah, see the ball go through the net. Shoot. And you know what? Another basketball analogy, shooters keep shooting, and that's what he kept doing last night.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Also,
got to do what you got to do.
Shout out to Cairo Santos. Sucks that his 39 straight field goal streak was broken on a ridiculous 65-yard attempt that
Yeah.
the announcer thought hit the upright, but
Yeah, they sent us all off on that one.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he hit the upright. I'm like, damn, he did. And they show he's fucking 8 yards short.
Yeah, it was funny because I was when they said that, I'm like, because you usually hear the
Right.
clank loud, and I was like, I didn't hear any clanks, but I guess if you say it hit the upright, then I guess it hit the crossbar. It hit the crossbar, but and then they showed it, and it literally
didn't even reach
barely
the
hit the
end
end
zone.
zone. Yeah,
Hey, and Lou Riddick, man, look, man, I'm gonna just have to say it again. He's my guy, but man, his inability to really like criticize Matt Nagy was
he
was
won't
really,
do it.
Every time it was something, but it's like, well, also this is the problem with the Bears. Well, also this is the problem with the Bears. Well, also this is the problem with the Bears. It's like, hey, man, we know Nagy's your boy, and then he's calling Bill Lazor Billy Lazor. It's like, bro, how plugged in are you with this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
Billy Lazor. This guy's been here for 2 years. I've never heard anybody call him Billy ever.
yo,
You know what
that's
I mean? Billy,
yeah.
it's like, yeah, Billy Lazor over there. It's like, oh, bro, you have an inability to fucking call it like it really is when it comes to Matt Nagy. Like, I don't know how close they are. We know they're close because when we listen to Riddick, it's always coming. Any Bears information he has is literally Matt Nagy. But man, like,
and really quick before we get out of here, we'll close it on the whole Marsh situation. This is a quote from Tony Careni. He said, I saw the player after he made a big play run toward the bench area of the Steelers and posture in such a way that I felt he was taunting them. That's what he said. That's a quote from Careni. He said a posture in such a way I felt that he was taunting them. Listen, you got a guy on the yo, and I think you tweeted it too, Eli. You got a guy that's on the practice squad next week, and all of a sudden he's in Monday Night Football, playing in Pittsburgh on national television, and he gets a sack and does an awesome karate kick.
Yeah, let excited people be excited.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
is that a penalty?
Yeah, no, this is the thing too. Did he jog over there and look at him? He did though.
He did.
I will say that,
yeah,
but I still don't think that's a penalty.
He was 25 yards. Like he
right. He didn't like run up to the numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and he didn't say anything. He didn't say a word. He just kind of looked over. He made a play.
The refs are whack, but like the blood is on the NFL's hands because they're the ones that made this rule change and made it a point of emphasis. It's not like the refs were like, you know what, we don't like this taunting. It's like the owners and the coaches were like, this needs to be emphasized, which is just stupid. It's a game. Let people be excited.
I know that coach you ran into on the sideline lit his ass up. Did you guys see that?
The linebacker.
Oh my God. He was getting lit up, my dude.
Marsh said he didn't know it was a flag until he got yelled at.
Oh my God. Yeah, coach was lighting his ass up.
Yeah, hey, at least Cassius got some FaceTime though.
Hey man, hey, get that. You got that photo? Shout out Cassius Marsh in the press conference too, bro. Hey, shout out Cassius Marsh, man. I don't know where he grew up, where he's from. But I can tell you who he hung around. So shout out Cassius Marsh.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the post game presser of Cassius Marsh, just look and you'll know what I'm talking about. Shout out Cassius Marsh.
Yeah, he looked like he got the
one of them.
He got the fur coat chains on.
Guarantee you he had Tim's on under all that too. There's a 0.0 chance that he didn't have Tim's on.
Yeah, shout out Cassius Marsh. At least him and his homies got to be on TV, and he made a play on national TV.
Absolutely.
All right, well, coming out of the bye, we got the Ravens. That should be a tough one. They eked out a W against the Vikings on Sunday. So, but we're at home, so we got that. We got Lamar at the crib. That'll be fun. It might be a little chilly. You know, Lamar don't like chili. That might help a little bit. I guess he plays a ton of chili stuff, but he'd rather not.
He's in Baltimore.
He'd rather not, though.
Yeah.
He'd rather not. So we'll see. And that's the Sunday before Thanksgiving, huh?
Yeah, then they have the Lions on Thanksgiving.
And then we got the Lions on Thanksgiving.
More national TV.
Hey, maybe.
I think we have 4 out of the next 6 games are on national TV for the Bears.
Like let's go. Give Justin all the national TV vibes. I'm with it. All right, we'll leave it there, fellas. For Eli Cabron, Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. Thanks for hanging in there with our internet issues. I think everyone was having them, but we'll leave it there. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. We're out of here. Bear down.